Good morning, friends. Today is April 15th, 2023, and it's a very solemn day for Gwinnett County, the communities of Beaufort and Sugar Hill specifically. It was 30 years ago this day that Miss Imogene Thompson was heinously and needlessly murdered on the side of Peachtree Industrial at Gwinnett Muffler Shop. The events of this day and the subsequent investigation would change Gwinnett County and the families involved here forever. And it is undisputable that an innocent woman lost her life in a senseless act of violence. But here's the question. This is the question that plagues Gwinnett County to this day. Was justice done? I have here with me Henry Ball, author of the book, Michael Chappell. And I would love for him to share his take. Welcome, Henry.
Thank you, Tammy. I hope you're having a good morning. And it is a very solemn day. And that question is the question that really looms large over this whole case. And as you mentioned, over the communities of Beaufort and Sugar Hill and really Gwinnett County as a whole. And it also looms large over the blue community, the community of law enforcement officers. And as we know, many in Gwinnett County had always believed what they were told by their superiors. And, why wouldn't you? I mean, you would think that, they're telling you, especially when they're going after one of their own, that they're telling you the straight skinny. And as we see in our group, we've had more and more of those officers that have joined and expressed their concerns over the conviction and how this conviction was obtained. And ultimately, the question is, was justice done? Is Michael Chappell truly the guilty party here? And of course, if you've read the book, if you've listened to the podcast, if you followed this page, you know that we have posted just, mountains of evidence that show that not only was Michael Chappell not at the crime scene and not really capable within the timeline of committing this crime, but we've shown that there were a number of other people that were at the crime scene. We've identified some of those people. We have shown that the witnesses that are on the record described a person that could not be Michael Chappell, a person that was 7 inches and 110 pounds or so lighter than Michael Chappell. So it's just not feasible. It wasn't Michael Chappell's patrol car. We've looked at evidence that the physical evidence against him, the blood in the on the armrest, for instance, that Danny Porter said was the key to the whole case. We've looked at the serology report that says they don't even know if that was human blood. So there's no way to determine that it was Imogene Thompson's blood. Same thing with the raincoat. You heard Danny Porter on the podcast say, well, it would have been nice if her blood would have been on the right sleeve and the right shoulder of the raincoat. And I guess that would have been nice for him. But the truth of the matter is it wasn't. And why wasn't it? Because it wasn't Mike's right arm. It wasn't Mike's raincoat. It wasn't Michael Chappell who reached his arm into that car and shot that woman at close range. So we have really produced and posted just a mountain of evidence, which will be reviewed by a judge here directly, and we believe we'll see excellent results from that. But the question is, was justice done? And you have to say, Michael Chappell hasn't received justice. The Chappell family hasn't received justice. Beaufort, Georgia, Gwinnett County, Sugar Hill, and most importantly, Imogene Thompson has not received justice. The person or persons who murdered her are still walking free.
So, what is going to constitute justice for this family, for Imogene? Um, I've spoken about this with many people, and it is a very sad state. And what is it that our goal is? I mean, I recognize, justice for Mike is to be able to not only get him out of prison where he's been sitting now for 30 years and to exonerate him. What would you say constitutes justice for the Thompson family in Imogene's name?
Well, and I don't envy the Thompson family at all, because they had been led to believe that Michael Chappell murdered their family member, and so they have lived this time thinking that perhaps justice was done. But Imogene Thompson deserves true justice, and true justice would be the actual perpetrators of her murder being brought to justice. Now, there's a possibility that at least one of them is deceased, but the truth needs to come out all around. And I think that, for the Chappell family, obviously they want their patriarch home.
Mm-hmm.
But justice is going to be, it has to be two-pronged in this case, in that, quite frankly, really three-pronged. Those responsible for this murder need to be brought to justice, but those responsible for framing and falsely convicting, and I believe intentionally falsely convicting Michael Chappell, need to be brought to justice. So, I think a lot of people have a lot of questions to answer in a court of law, and I see that train rolling. I believe that day is coming.
So, how do we go about making sure that we'll say Danny Porter, because he would be the big one up at the top leading this, and his minions, we'll call them. How do we go about making sure that they are held accountable or doing our best?
Well, I think the Michael Chappell is Innocent Project is doing everything within our power to see that day come to fruition. We're not, we can't be the judge and jury. What our job was to do was to bring this truth to the public and put it in the public sphere. And then we've, been able to hire an attorney to bring it back into the courtroom and to, address it appropriately in the court system. And so it'll be the court system that really has to make that ultimate decision. I can tell you that in Georgia, as well as a lot of other states, the judicial system is looking at itself and looking at all these instances of prosecutorial misconduct. You see people being exonerated every other day now. Mm-hmm. And that's, that's a big problem for the justice system, because frankly, and I think the number's somewhere around 3,500 people that have been exonerated, proven innocent, that have served, 10, 20, 30 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. If you see those cases, that's just the ones that have been successful. That's just the ones that have gotten all the way through the system. There are a lot of other people in Mike's position that have been wrongfully, falsely convicted and remain in prison for crimes they didn't commit. And I think the country and the justice system is waking up to that. And you're also starting to see them hold prosecutors accountable, as they should. I believe in an eye for an eye. So I believe in a day for a day. I believe, those responsible for this wrongful conviction should spend one day in prison for every day that Michael Chappell has spent in prison, which is about to be exactly 30 years. Right. And so that would be true justice to me, but I'm not the ultimate decider of that.
True. Well, and then another one that looms over us, and I even see one of our attendees that has commented about Michael Thompson, is that, holding him accountable. This was his mother that he said he loved so much, although he's pretty much woven through this, and only he and his maker know the truth. But at what point do we hold him accountable? What do we have going for that?
Well, all I can tell you as to Michael Thompson, something you just said, that only he and his maker know the ultimate truth. What we know is that he has not told the truth because his story has changed multiple times. There are things that are on the record about his story that are demonstrably not true. So all I can tell you is that we know he's not telling the truth. We know that his vehicle was at the crime scene. So we know that there are a lot of questions that he needs to answer. But again, it goes back to, ultimately, I'm not the arbiter of that. I can tell you what I could tell you what I think, but I have to be, cautious to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. But I believe justice is coming.
Okay. So do you have any updates from the legal front?
Yeah, I do. And thanks for asking. So had a great conversation with Mike's attorney yesterday, and we feel very strong in our position. I will say that. We also, because of the amazing fundraising efforts of this group, we feel like we're close enough to our goal to be able to go ahead and start the deposition process. We haven't completely raised our goal, but we've had an amazing couple of weeks of fundraising, and personally thank all of you for that. Everybody listening and everybody who's donated, you guys are awesome, and we appreciate you very kindly. We still have a little ways to go, but like I said, we feel strongly enough that we're close enough to reaching our goals that we are starting that process. So I'm not going to announce who will be receiving subpoenas very soon, but people will begin to receive subpoenas very soon so that they can be deposed and prepare for a hearing. The other thing that I'd like to say is a clarification on dates, and this gave me this made me feel warm and fuzzy. So the state has 20 days from the time that we filed the petition to give their initial answer. They now have 9 days left. And of course, we haven't seen an answer yet. The attorney anticipates that they will file an answer. That answer may simply be that, okay, we're going to look into this and talk to these witnesses and pose this. They may ask for a dismissal, but we feel like we have enough information to overcome that. And so we should hear from the state very soon.
Okay.
And then tentatively, there will be a hearing in July. Both parties have basically an automatic extension that they can employ. So it may go to August, could possibly go to September, but I think we'll be having a hearing in July. And that hearing is going to be on Zoom, and it's open to the public. So we will be able to not participate, but we'll be able to watch that hearing. And we will want the Michael Chappell is Innocent Project and any reporters and media that we can get to pay attention to that. So we're going to look for a big showing of support from the Michael Chappell is Innocent Project. I will certainly keep you abreast of the exact time and day when that is appropriate. And I think things are really moving in the right direction. We feel really good about it. Today is a solemn day, and I appreciate you making Imogene Thompson and justice for her the focal point today, because it should be. And so we look forward to justice for Miss Imogene Thompson, and we look forward to justice for the Chappell family, for Michael Chappell, and for all involved.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better. It is a solemn day. It's a heartbreaking day when you realize how much time has passed, and here we are still discussing the facts in the case, and two families are still sitting in limbo. Well, I thank everyone that has joined us this morning to listen in. Thank you, Henry. If you would like more information in this case, You can join the Michael Chappell is Innocent Facebook group, where we are over 6,000 strong Chapel warriors. You can pick up the book Michael Chappell by Henry Ball. You can check out the podcast In the Land of Lies by Sean Kite. And if you would like to donate to help in this fight, you can donate to the Fight organization, Falsely Incarcerated Getting Help Today, at donateforjustice.com. And all of those donations go to represent Michael Chappell and his legal defense. So we thank you for joining us. You all have a blessed day, and we'll give you another update next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tammy.